This is how you treat him? Oh my God. Just when I thought, you know what? Hi guys, welcome back for Married at First Sight, Season 20, Episode 10. There's no depth to Adam. And I don't care what Adam says, there's zero depth there. Because we start the episode with Adam and Marissa doing Dr. Paul's homework of trying to get deeper and below the surface with the two of them. So Marissa has a paper of 10 questions. She starts off, what is a misconception about you, or what do people assume about you that's not true? And he's like, that I'm like really surface level and that there's not much going on upstairs and I just like jet skis and stuff. And it's like, okay, well, prove to us otherwise, Adam. Like right now, you really are seeming very, very surface level. And I'm still not buying that you're not surface level, because even that answer to me was very like, I'm just going to stay on the surface. I don't really want to go deep. And they're laughing the whole time. Like, what is so funny about this? This is not even a funny question. And I don't know if it's that the two of them don't really feel comfortable going deeper, and so they just laugh because it's awkward, or what it is. But as they keep going through these questions, they never dive deep. Like, even what's something that you're insecure about or that you used to be insecure about? And he's like, I used to be really skinny and I used to get made fun of for it. And it's like, you have nothing else? Nothing else. Just that you used to be skinny. And Marissa's like, same. I used to have chicken legs. And it's like, you guys really have nothing going on. Truly. I just don't understand. I mean, this is not going to be a successful marriage if you guys can't have serious conversations about stuff below the surface. Like, you need to start having real conversations. And Marissa's like, we needed that wake up call. Did you? Because you're still not doing it. Like, I don't understand what it's going to take for you guys. And at one point, they get to a question. I forget exactly what the question was, but they were talking about how important finances are. Oh, Marissa asked something about, like, is there anything that concerns you about, being married to me? And he's like, no, I mean, we're both really stable financially. And it's like, okay, that's great. That is a big piece of it. But is there any other factors in this relationship other than money? And Marissa's like, yeah, that's the thing my parents argued about the most. Like, they had 3 teenagers all going through high school, braces, everything at the same time. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. My dad was without work for a bit, so she had to enter the workforce, and it was just a whole thing. And the whole time, Adam's just like, yeah, that sucks. You have nothing else to say to that? No probing questions. Just, yeah, that sucks. And then he's like, let's do truth or dare. That's more us. And it's just like, you don't know how to be serious. And honestly, I'm bored of it. I'm bored of it. Shawn is a joke to me. He really is. And I wish that I could take him seriously. But there's not a single bone in my body that takes him seriously. So Shawn and Nikki are having a nice little picnic by the water. It's beautiful. You know what glamping is? It's like that, but picnic edition. So as they're sitting there talking, they're talking about their relationship. Shawn asks some long-winded question that had 20 words, as he does. I'm not going to try and remember. I'm not even going to try and repeat it. So they end up having this conversation about their progress. And Nikki's like, I think we're making great strides, as we've discussed. And they get on to the physical aspect of their relationship. And it's like, what does she need in order to progress? And he's basically saying that, if there's a sweet moment, she needs to get out of her head and just lean into the feelings. Otherwise, she's going to like block it. And that's going to make it so that they can't move forward in like an intimate sexual way. And so Nikki then responds and she's like, I hear what you're saying. I basically need to stop blocking and, lean more into this experience because I'm married and I'm going to have to do things that like normally I wouldn't do at this stage. But like, I just need to do those things in order to have the full experience and to move forward and form that connection in a material way with my husband. I hear you. I hear you. I will work on that. And so then I say, Nikki, don't worry about it. You don't need to. Word on the street, you don't need to. I don't know what's true or not, but the girls are coming forward with some proof. So you don't need to worry about doing anything. Just sit back and keep doing what you've been doing. Do not go any further with this man. And Shawn's like, yes, you need to work on not blocking your blessings. Blessings? You? Are you implying that having sexual relations with you is a blessing? Get out of here. Ain't that what he said in that one episode where he was like, I don't believe it for a sec. Girl, get out of here. Shawn, get out of here. Get out of here. No, Nikki, Run away fast. I have so many thoughts right now, but first we're just gonna dive into what just unfolded. So Tori is hanging out with her friends around like a fire pit. They're eating pizza and they're catching up. She's letting them know everything about Felipe. And she goes into, he was nervous to tell me that he's an atheist. Her friend says, oh, well, religion's really important to you. Like, you'd be on dating apps and you immediately would like swipe left on a guy who didn't say that he was a Christian, or you would stop talking to him. And it's like, well, if that's the case, Felipe should absolutely be on like your do not fly list, right? And so she's like, yeah, but actually, I'm beginning to think that, religion's just such a personal thing. So, like, it doesn't really matter. It shouldn't impact anything. And it's like, Tori, you just agreed with what your friend said to be true. If that's the case, you're now changing what you feel and what you believe and what you want in order to justify being with Felipe. And we don't need to do that. Okay? There's no need to lower standards. There's no need to change desires and wants to justify being with a specific man. Your correct person will check off those boxes for you. If it is important that your man is also Christian, Felipe is not your man. Point blank, period. End of story. Like, put a period at the end of that sentence. It is okay. It's okay to be single. It's okay to date, find someone, realize that's not the person, and move on. It's okay, even if you're married. In this case, let's be so for real. Yes, you are married legally, but you're basically dating. Okay? It's okay for you to end this and decide, I need to move on to find someone who does check that box. The experts should have checked that box if they were true experts. But, we're going to leave that be. They then keep going on the conversation. Tori lets them know that Felipe has cheated in the past. And we actually get more details from Tori. So he was with his girlfriend for 6 years total. He cheated on her at a party by making out with his high school crush. He then did not tell his girlfriend, which we did know that part. Her friend asked how long was that time between like the cheating and the end of the relationship. And Tori says a couple years. That's a long time. That's a very long time. That is a massive red flag amount of time to have cheated on somebody and not said anything. He can say he was so ashamed he forgot all he wants to. I don't care. You did not forget, Felipe. You just didn't want to tell her. That is some crazy behavior. Tori, get out of that relationship. And she's like, I'm concerned that, he's going to dip or that he might cheat on me when he gets bored. I have that same concern for you. He has not proven otherwise. Okay, he has not proven that he can be trusted to not do that. You know what I mean? Your concerns are very valid. I have a feeling that he might step out on you and then not tell you, because that is his track record. He has proven that he can keep a secret for years. That's a long time to have cheated on somebody and kept it a secret. I don't believe he forgot it all, honestly. I don't believe it. I think you're full of it. That's a convenient excuse. I don't care what he says. He is a liar. He is a liar. He cannot be trusted. Do not trust him. So then her friends are talking about relationships after that. And one of her friends said, once the novelty wears off, it's about choosing to stay and be committed to that person, and that's how you grow in a relationship. And I agree. Tori, you're going into this brand new relationship and marriage not being unsure if you can trust this man. That's not a good start. Granted, he hasn't done you wrong yet, but he did his longtime partner. 6 years is a long freaking time. Let's say, since we don't have exact timelines, let's say that he cheated on her at year 4, even year 3. Number one, that's a long time to be dating someone. And then that's a long time to be keeping a secret. That's going to be a no in my book. That's done. DOA. Courtney, I'm taking issue with you. I'm taking major issue with you at this point. You don't like Nick. And I think we just need to call it what it is. Okay, you can keep trying to put the blame on Nick, but you don't like Nick. You don't. And that's okay. You don't have to like him, but let's just be honest about the situation at hand. So it's Courtney's birthday. Nick got her a cake and some beautiful flowers. He sings to her, she blows out the candles, and in her confessional, she's like, the gifts and everything are nice, but during the group session, I admitted that, like, sex and everything is very hard for me and it's very personal what I shared. And he just like, you need to be more goofy. And like, he wants me to be all over him, but this is not helping. Like, are you serious, dude? Courtney, I mean, you're not really forming an environment of warmth. You're not really creating that for anybody. I do agree that Nick does need to be less surface level, but I also think that on your part, you shared that in a group session. If that were in a one-on-one conversation between you and Nick, I do think the conversation would have been different. But in a group session in front of everybody, what did you want him to do? Like, can you explain what you wanted him to do? What did you want him to say? What would be correct to you? Because it does seem like every time Nick does anything, you say that that's not correct. That's not going to help. That's not going to work. That's not what you want. What do you want? I'm not sure because you don't want Nick. And that's where like the whole thing is falling apart is you don't want Nick. Just say it. Like honestly, we can all move on and get past this whole thing once you just admit that you don't want him. You are begging your family to give you a reason to get out of this. And they didn't give you one. So you're still here complaining. Courtney, you're a nasty girl. You are. You're kind of a mean girl. Because why, when they get to, I think it's the restaurant Felipe works at for her birthday party, all the couples are there, and she's like, I'm going to sit in the middle. I don't want to sit at the head of the table. Caitlyn and Michelle can sit beside me. And they're like, what about Nick? And she's like, oh, he'll understand. So finally, all the couples come in. Everybody's sitting down. And what is her name? Oh my God, Courtney walks up to Nick and is like, so Caitlyn and Michelle are sitting beside me. How do you want me to work this? What do you mean, how does he want you to work this? You set this up. You set this up. You told them to sit beside you. What? You had me for a second thinking I was going crazy because you really made that seem like you didn't ask them to do that and they just did that. She ended up feeling guilty and had Michelle move so that Nick could sit beside her. They do a nice little toast, and then Mecca and Bella are talking to each other and to Devon about the group session, the group therapy session, which I'm like, why are y'all talking about this here? Which then had me wondering, how many days has passed? Like, is this the next day? Because if it's the next day, then I understand. But if it's, been more than 24 hours, why are we talking about this here? you know? So Mecca and Belgely are still talking about it back and forth about how he shut down during the session and he was like, yeah, I just got so deep in self-reflection that I just tend to shut down to everything around me. And Bella's like, it doesn't bother me if you shut down as long as you don't take it out on me. And he's like, no, I would never. I reflect, not project, which is why I kind of shut down. I will say, I think a lot of people are going to give Mecca crap for that. I do. But I can't because I'm the exact same way. Like to a T, I'm going to reflect about this and just kind of shut down for a bit while I figure it out. I get it. I do. And it's not great, especially in a relationship. Like that is something I'm still trying to work on. And if people don't know you and they don't understand, then it can come across as like, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for. Standoffish and kind of like you're giving the cold shoulder. And it's really not. You're just so deep in your own processing of everything that it's just like, I'm not paying attention to anything that's going on around me. Courtney can pack it up. That's what I'm going to say. Courtney can pack it up. Devon, time and place. You weren't wrong in what you were saying, but time and place. This was not the time nor the place. My God, these people are just, they need so much therapy, especially Courtney. So we are at the birthday party for Courtney. Nick is trying to talk to her. She is acting so bothered by him, so annoyed. She won't even look at him. She's not acknowledging that he's saying anything whatsoever. Felipe offers her an espresso martini and she's like, does it have dairy in it? Felipe's like, no. And Nick says, but there is vodka, not tequila. And I don't know if it's a gluten thing because I know for a fact that vodka has gluten. Not all vodkas are gluten free because, oh, she did mention that she has celiac. Like a couple episodes ago, she mentioned that. That's why Nick said that about the vodka. And she acted so annoyed that he said that and didn't even acknowledge him. Now that I remember that she has celiac, that's rude. He's seriously looking out for you, because if you really do have celiac, you need to know if that's gluten-free vodka or not. Because that's about to mess up your entire birthday. And he was looking out for you. And this is how you treat him? Oh my God. Just when I thought, you know what? I already knew I didn't like Courtney. But this episode, this whole scene has solidified for me. Yeah, she was drinking. I understand that. But her behavior's been nasty for longer than she's been drinking in this episode. Okay, so she's ignoring him, acting so annoyed whenever he says anything, not acknowledging that he's even speaking to her, which is rude. Like, even if you don't like him, when somebody speaks to you, at least acknowledge them. Don't treat him as if he doesn't exist and like he's just wind in the breeze. You know, like that's, oh my God, she's so rude. Which I already said she was rude, but you know, this tracks. So Devon, because Caitlyn got up and was talking to Felipe, I believe. And so Devon scooted over to be beside Courtney, and he's like, hey, look at me, look at me. You got to treat him nicer. Like, and she's like, no, no, we had a conversation earlier, and no, he just isn't treating me the way that I deserve to be treated. I deserve to be loved for me. You deserve to be loved for you. Yeah, but that does not mean the unhealed version of you. You have a lot of healing and work you need to do on yourself before you expect anyone who is actually right for you to love you. You can end up in a lot of toxic relationships acting the way you act, but you've got to heal yourself. You have a lot of work you need to do. But for whatever reason, you believe that you're so perfect and you have no work you need to do on yourself. And so they play the flashback clip of her at therapy, like the group session, where she's crying about the intimacy thing. And she's like, and he just wasn't really there for me the way. And she's like, he's not being vulnerable. And Devon's like, well, as a man, when you're put on the spot to be vulnerable, it can be really tough. And I agree. For anyone, when you're put on the spot to be vulnerable, it's very hard. It's very hard. It's very uncomfortable. And if you don't feel like you're in a safe space to really do that, which maybe he didn't feel like he was in a safe space, then it's very easy to just shut down even further than you already were. And to put up a wall higher and thicker than the last wall you had up. So that conversation just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. Devon did not say a single thing that was incorrect. It just was not the time or the place. That's the thing. So Courtney gets all amped up and she's like, Caitlyn, you need to come get your husband. You need to come get your husband. And she's just off the rails. Somebody needs to take away her alcohol. She doesn't need to drink anymore. So Caitlyn does come back eventually, but she was like, I'm in a conversation. I'll come back in a little bit. And she's like, Caitlyn, come get your boy. And so Caitlyn does sit down. She's like, so what's going on? Like, I wasn't over here. What's going on? And nobody's really explaining. It's just kind of like crickets. Everybody's just looking at her and she's like, I wasn't here. What's going on? And so Belgelie starts trying to answer. She's like, I missed the beginning though. So I'm not really sure how we got here. And then it becomes like Caitlyn, no, not Caitlyn. Caitlyn's sitting there. Courtney is trying to explain to Caitlyn what happened, but it's like all coming across in like bits and pieces. It's not a full story, not a full picture. And Devon is like, but as my wife, and Caitlyn, to fairness, this is exactly how I would be, is like, I wasn't over here. I'm not about to sit here and take your side if I have no idea what just happened. I have no idea what was said. Like, I'm not just going to blindly take your side. I'm not going to take anybody's side until I know what's going on. And he's like, but I want you to hear me. The thing is, Devon, you weren't saying anything. You keep saying, I want you to hear me, but you're not saying anything. You're not. Like, if you wanted to hear you, start explaining what you said. There was a lot of alcohol flowing, clearly. But Courtney is a problem. She is a true problem. And she needs so much therapy. Like, you are so unhealed and it's really showing. I don't know how you expect anyone to actually. I gotta interrupt myself real fast because when Caitlyn came back, Courtney said something that I thought was way out of pocket. She was like, I see why you can't live with him. Courtney, you need to shut up. Shut up. Like, really. You're about to get yourself in some trouble. She better be glad she didn't say something like me, because I definitely would have checked her. Not physically, verbally. We get what I can only call hidden camera footage of Devon and Caitlyn back in their apartment after the party, where Devon and Caitlyn are having this conversation of like, Caitlyn saying that Courtney feels like a boundary has been crossed. which I do kind of understand because she did not ask for Devon's input, even though what he was saying was correct. But you can't just like meddle in people's relationship, you know what I mean? And so if she feels like a boundary was crossed, then a boundary was crossed. That's just kind of how it works. And he's so drunk. He's so drunk. And he's trying to have this conversation with Caitlyn. And she's like, I can't take you seriously right now. And I can't have this conversation with you when you're swaying back and forth in the doorway and your eyes are crossed. Like, you're so drunk right now. And he's still trying to have it. And he's like, are you trying to create an argument? And she's like, no, stop trying to gaslight me. So she's doing laundry for whatever reason. Like, please just throw that stuff on the floor and go to bed. And he's trying to give her a hug, and she's like, no, do not hug me. I don't want to hug you. At the end of this conversation, though, she said something, and I don't know if they're going to come back from that statement, because that is like a marriage ending statement where she says that you want me to trust you as a leader in this relationship, and that's just never going to happen. And I just don't think that you can come back from that. I don't know if she like fully meant that, but if she did, you're never coming back from that. If you didn't mean it, good luck coming back from that. Like, I don't have any words about that. That's a bold statement to make. I hope she meant it, because to say something like that and not mean it, you're not, I don't think you can return. So I hope she meant it. But if she did mean it, like, their marriage is kind of over. I think we can all agree on that. So the next morning, Devon and Caitlyn are in the car, and Caitlyn does actually open up a little bit, and she says that last night she was coming from a place of basically being triggered because in her past there's been a lot of experiences with substance abuse, and so seeing Devon like that and having that interaction was very triggering for her, and she didn't realize how much that still triggered her. And so she's like, it's not going to be a problem as long as it doesn't become a pattern, but I want you to know where I'm coming from. And you know what? I get it. I get it. And again, that comment though, I don't know if you can move past that. At least for me, I would be like, well, dang. Like, tell me how you really feel. But he seems like he's fine moving past it. And I guess that's good for them, but is it going to be a pattern? This is the first time I think we've seen him get drunk. So as long as it doesn't happen again, at least not to that level, hopefully they'll be fine. I don't know. I feel like that might be something they need to like work out in a session, because I do, even though Devon is acting like he's fine, I do think that comment's probably gonna eat at him if he remembers it. Mecca and Bella had a pretty long expert session with Dr. Paul, and this was actually a really good one, I feel like, where they actually go into a little bit of detail about what happened at the group session, why he shut down, and the fact that he felt like he was being attacked by Dr. Paul when he said it was performative. And Paul did apologize, which I thought was big of him to not double down and be like, well, it's the truth, isn't it? And like kind of assert his power and his status to say what I said is correct, and it doesn't really matter that you felt like you were attacked because what I said was right. And so he did apologize that it did come across as an attack and it did make him feel that way, which is big. And so they do get into Mecca's mom and how Mecca felt growing up, and he said that it made him spend a lot of time with his dad, and seeing his friends' relationship with their biological moms, it started to make him feel like, am I not worthy? Like, I'm not deserving. And that's how we end up where he is now. So he's a self-sabotager, which is what Dr. Paul says. And he's like, that's accurate. I would say the same thing. And Paul is like, when you self-sabotage, you're leaning more into the fear. And Belle is a defender of you. And she's going to be by your side. And that is a form of love. And I do believe that Belle loves you, and she's just not saying it. And Belle starts tearing up at that. And I do believe that she also does love him. And I can't blame her for not saying it, because I think she's scared of him either running away or what that's going to do to their relationship, because it is a very big step. And so Mecca does acknowledge that, like, I could just focus on the fear part, all the things that make me scared, and just overlook all the good things, but that's like not fair to do, so I'm really curious to see how they move forward from this, and just what's going to happen to the relationship. Like, is Mecca going to lean more into the love part, or is he still going to struggle? And I do think that once he leans in and once he just gives in to that and decides to trust, which I think is the part that he's having a hard part with, is trusting that Bella's not going to leave, that she's not going to do him wrong, and that it's not going to be just like, his past. I do think that they can move forward in a more productive way, just because once you lean in, you're not really looking back. You're kind of like, okay, well, let's build this thing. We're in this thing together. We're both taking that leap. Let's build it, and let's build it strong. That way it doesn't fall apart. Wait a second, wait a second, wait a second. Going to a hidden camera footage of night vision of Nikki and Shawn on the couch, and Nikki straddling Shawn's waist was a jump scare. Oh my god. I needed a warning. That actually I am unwell. I was not prepared at all. At all. Oh my god. I almost I almost feel scarred. Like, I feel like I need a consent form to see anything like this, and I don't consent. I did not consent to this. Listen, the people online have been speculating that Shawn is not into women and that he is not straight. I'm not going to speculate on anybody's sexuality, but the way that he was trying to kiss her neck and her shoulder by pecking, it gives me you haven't been with a woman. I'm sorry. That's all I'm going to say about it. Moving on. Cameron and Michelle go to Michelle's house, and she did a little bit of work in there. Michelle is very talented. She is multifaceted. And I feel like we need to see more of that from her, because she did like some wood paneling on her kitchen peninsula bar area, which looked really good. But then we go into her bedroom, and she has this massive painting that she did. It looks like maybe oil painting. Ridiculous. Absolutely. Like, it looks so professional. I'm like, what the heck? And I'm with Cameron on this one, because he was like, how you did this? How long did this take? And she was like, oh, just probably like 50 hours. And she said it so casually. And he's like, I couldn't do that if I had my whole life to try. And then she has pictures of like photography that she's done. She's a very impressive lady. Cam did say that he feels like, she might be too good for him. I would agree. I think she might be too good for you, dude. But she likes you, so I mean, that's a plus. Hopefully it works out for you, because she's definitely too good for you. I don't even know what to say. I'm trying so hard not to lay into this man the way I want to lay into him. So Nikki and Shawn are in the kitchen. Another hidden camera footage. They need to put up some type of trigger warning on these scenes right here, because I feel icked out. Like, truly, I feel like I just need a shower from hearing this conversation. So Nikki is in the kitchen. Looks like she might be getting ready to go to the gym or something. She's like in activewear and some nice little sneakers. And here comes Shawn walking in a towel around his waist. I did not consent to seeing you without a shirt on, but I did not consent to this entire scene or conversation. So he's like, sometimes after we have, oh my God, this is so disgusting. I don't even want to repeat this conversation. He says, so sometimes after we have a good night together, it makes me have increased desire. Oh my God. Is there any world in which you see getting to the point of like pleasuring me? A mutual situation. And this stops Nikki dead in her tracks. She put that cup down. She turned around. She said, I'm sorry, what? And he's like, like a mutual situation, or you doing it to me. And she's like, that's a physical thing. We need to get there. So how about, like a solo situation? You do it for yourself. You get yourself there. And he's like, well, I'm trying not to. I'm like holding out, waiting for my wife, because I was relying on myself for that dopamine hit, or, watching something for that dopamine hit. She's like, oh, yeah, that is right. Well, we're just not at that physical point. And he's like, okay, well, being married, I see that as like one of the responsibilities of a wife is noticing when her partner has a need and fulfilling that need. That's where I'm about to stop you. That's where I'm stopping you. That's the part that actually pissed me off about this conversation, Shawn. Because what you're not going to do is try and say that your wife has to notice and fulfill your need. You can still notice and fulfill your own need. Just because I'm a woman and I'm your wife does not mean that it's my job to fulfill your need. If I'm not in the mood, we're not doing it. If I don't want to, we're not doing it. For whatever reason, you keep placing all this pressure, all these duties. You are so horny. I need for you to just take care of it yourself so that we can move on. Please. Because I know for me, I felt extremely icked out by this conversation. I imagine Nikki did too. You probably dried her up like the Sahara. You decided to implement a rule for yourself that you're not going to handle it yourself. That ain't got nothing to do with Nikki. So if you really have a need that's that great and that strong, handle it yourself. I'm a person who does believe in like the sanctity of marriage. I do believe in like marriage, okay? So I'm not going to sit here and say that marriage means nothing, but honestly, in this situation right here where you're marrying a stranger, it means nothing. Husband and wife is simply just a title in this situation. I don't give a crap that you are married and that is your wife. And you need to stop trying to pressure her at every turn to get something sexual out of her. All you're doing is making it worse and worse and worse and worse and worse for yourself and pushing that further down the line. Because the more you push it, the less she wants to do any of it. Because now it seems like you're doing anything and you're being nice and you're having all these good days, trying to get what you want out of this situation instead of being your true authentic self. Because we all know good and well if you were just being yourself, y'all wouldn't be having good days. Bella, Julie, and Mecca are on the basketball court having, I guess, like a little role play situation where they're acting like they're just now meeting for the very first time. They decide to play horse with a reward of being a kiss. Belle loses. That's kind of that. It was real short. It was real sweet. It was cute, though. I'll give it to him. It was cute. Nick and Courtney have their expert session with Dr. Lisa where they agree to basically hit the reset button on their relationship and pretty much start over and pretend like the last 2 weeks haven't happened because they're both so in their heads and it's just not getting them to a good place. It sounds great in theory. I just don't think that a reset button is really going to work. It's so easy to be like, okay, let's just pretend like the last 2 weeks haven't happened. But they're both still going to be thinking about it. Like every decision that they make, every action they take is still going to be running through, okay, well, the last 2 weeks, this is how this was received, blah, 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 blah. And I just don't know that they can actually truly reset. We can give it a shot. I'm willing to wait and see what happens, but I don't have high hopes. I really don't think that Courtney likes him. I don't. I don't see it. I don't think that she really likes him. I don't even know if he really likes her at this point. I think I think they're done. Or as Adam would say, I think they're cooked. Nah, Shawn, you know who's exasperated? What is the word I'm looking for? You know what, Shawn? I'm so sick and tired of you. I am so sick and tired of you. You are such a gaslighter. You love to be like, that's not what I said. That's not what I said. I can't keep up with her multiple personalities. She does not have multiple personalities. You do. Okay, so he plans this night, right? That he calls whatever. I don't care what he calls it. He basically gives her a robe, blindfolds her. He feeds her foods, making her guess what it is. It felt like a MasterChef challenge. And then he ties her up and is using like a whip and feathers and like rubbing it on her. But I don't know. Trying to set a mood, have fun is what he said. I don't care at this point because this conversation afterwards has pissed me all the way off. So they're sitting down and Nikki's like, I'm glad that you brought all this up, because the comment you made earlier really caught me off guard and rubbed me the wrong way about it being like wifely duties and you're trying to like accelerate our sexual relationship. And he's like, whoa, that's not what I said. I did not say wifely duties because that sounds crazy. You're trying to mischaracterize me. And she's not. He's like, I would never say anything to that effect. They play the clip back because Shawn likes to rewrite history, as we're learning. And he didn't exactly say wifely duties, but he said everything that led to that except for duties. That's the only word he left out. Is he just didn't say the word duties, but it was heavily implied in his sentence. It's even the same way I took it. I took it the same way before even seeing Nikki say that she felt like he was saying it was part of her wifely duties. And he's trying to sit here and gaslight her and be like, that's not what I said. You're trying to mischaracterize me and blah, 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 and shifting narratives. And I just can't keep up. I'm so exacerbated. And it's just like, exasperate, whatever the word I don't care what word he used.
Aw, shit. Here we go again.
I am so sick and tired of this man. At this point, get him off my screen. Get him off my screen. Free my girl, Nikki. At this point, free her, okay? Because this is not a healthy relationship. It's not. He needs help. He's not okay. The level of gaslighting, manipulation, rewriting history, trying to make her seem like she's crazy and that she's making things up and that she's living in a whole different reality. You, sir, are living in an entirely different reality. They literally played the clip back because they want the audience to realize y'all aren't tripping. You heard the same thing too. He's just over here making something up. I'm sick and tired of you. I want you off my screen. Shut it down. I don't care about Shawn. I don't want to see anything else with Shawn. He needs to be in therapy on someone's couch. He don't need to be sitting on his couch next to Nikki. He needs to be on a therapist's couch. Actually, no. Not even a therapist's couch. A psychiatrist. Because we need the meds. That's the end of episode 10. They end with that little conversation on the couch. I'm hot. I'm so heated. You know, I was really ready to just jump straight into episode 11. I might have to take a breather because they pissed me all the way off. I'm so tired of coming for Shawn. Shawn and Courtney, they're both on my list for this episode. But anyway, thanks for watching. I will be back here soon for episode 11. Bye!